Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadhari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadhari. Kashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadhari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadhari. Kashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Kashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astu Todasudha Srimad ISKCON Founder Acharya's Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Goho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Brajabhumi Brindabandam Ki. Shridham Mayapur ki, Ganga Maya ki, Yamuna Maya ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskricha Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasa Tator Jayamudirayat Nastapreshu Abhideshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtiki. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavad Purana, text 46 of chapter 13 of the first canto. The chapter is entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. So we'll do the Sanskrit. Kāla-karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāṁs to gopāyet sarpa-grasto yathā param kāla-karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāṁs to gopāyet sarpa-grasto yathā param kāla-karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāṁs to gopāyet sarpa-grasto yathā param kāla-karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāṁs to gopāyet sarpa-grasto yathā param kāla-karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāṁs to gopāyet sarpa-grasto yathā param kāla-karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāṁs to gopāyet sarpa-grasto param. Anyone else? Karma-guṇādhīno deho yam pāñca-bhautikaḥ katham anyāns to gopāyet sarpa-grasto yathā param Ladies? Anyone want to try? Kāla, eternal time. Karma, action. Guṇa, modes of nature. Adhīnaḥ, under the control of. Dehaḥ, material body and mind. Ayam, this. Pāñca-bhautikaḥ, made of the 5 elements. Katham, how. Anyān, others. To, but. Gopāyet, give protection. Sarpa-grastaḥ, one who is bitten by the snake. Yathā, as much as. Param, others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This gross material body, made of 5 elements, is already under the control of eternal time, kāla, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guṇa. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? Please repeat. This gross material body, made of 5 elements, is already under the control of eternal time. Kāla, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guṇa. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? The world's movement for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by superior power. A conditioned living being is under full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. There are 3 material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and the ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. Only the man in the quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called kāla, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that the good project is frustrated in the course of time. The only thing possible to be done is to get rid of eternal time, kāla, which is compared to kāla-sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of a cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of the cobralike kāla, or its integrity, the modes of nature, is bhakti-yoga, as it is recommended in the Bhagavad-gītā 14:26. The highest perfectional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching bhakti-yoga all over the world, because that alone can save the people from the control of māyā, or the material nature represented by kāla, karma, and guṇa as described above. The Bhagavad-gītā 14:26 confirms this definitely. So that verse, mamchayo vyabhicārana bhakti-yoga sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So Krishna tells Arjuna in the chapter on the modes of material nature, mamchayo vyabhicārana bhakti-yoga sevate, that one must engage in pure devotional service, sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya, to transcend the modes of material nature and attain the lotus feet of the Lord. Attaining Brahma-bhuta does not mean merging with Krishna's Brahma-jyoti effulgence. It means actually manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. It means always remembering the Lord and being absorbed like the 6 Goswamis were in the transcendental form, pastimes, paraphernalia, the beauty, the relationships that God is having in the spiritual world. That is how we transcend the modes of nature. Unfortunately, most of the living entities, especially in this age of Kali, they are fully bewildered by these different elements represented by Krishna. Like Krishna says, kalosmi bharatarshava, time I am. And he tells Arjuna in the 11th chapter, time I am, the destroyer of the worlds. I have come to engage all men, except for you, the Pandavas. All these men on this battlefield will be killed. So Krishna is represented by the serpent Kala. Maharaj Prachini Barishat meets Narada Muni. And Narada Muni gives this analogy of a king called Maharaj Puranjana. Puranjana actually means a soul which tries to enjoy, the conditioned soul who tries to enjoy this material body. And Maharaj Puranjana is living in the city of 9 gates. The city of 9 gates represents the body. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, the mouth, the belly, the genitals, and the anus. These are the different gates of the body. And inside this city, there is a garden, which is represented by one's heart. And in the heart, there's so many material desires. And Maharaj Puranjana is sitting in this garden. And this beautiful woman, Puranjani, comes by him. That is the materialistic intelligence. Krishna tells in the 2nd chapter, Jayato Vishaya Pumsam Sangatesho Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodho Bijayate Krodho Bhavati Samoha Samoha Smriti Vibhramat Smriti Brahmat Buddhi Nasho Pranashyati. That the mind is contemplating the objects of the senses, and it becomes bewildered, and it loses its memory. It loses the understanding that the soul, the soul, is always accompanied by the Supreme Paramatma, the Supreme Lord. His real friend is the Lord. So forgetfulness of the Lord begins by desiring in this garden. Maharaj Puranjana is certainly desiring to enjoy his beautiful wife and his children, his kingdom. So many ways one expands the field of material enjoyment. Therefore, the wife is called Stri, one who expands the field of material enjoyment. So Narada Muni is trying to wake Maharaj Prachina Barishat up by explaining this analogy. And Puranjana, he goes out hunting and he kills many animals, and then he comes back and his wife attracts him, and he enjoys sense gratification with his wife, and he has 1,100 sons and 110 daughters, and they have children, and then grandchildren, and then great-grandchildren. This way, the city of Maharaj Puranjana becomes populated by all these relatives and friends and servants and so many personalities, and he has so much wealth and so on. But we know that in the 5th chapter of the 5th canto, Jadabharata is explaining to Maharaj Rahugana that these persons who, the living entity, the conditioned soul, in the forest of material enjoyment, he's mesmerized by the soft sounds of his children. But they're compared to be like jackals, simply exploiting him. And his wife, her sweet words in the forest of material enjoyment, she gives sweet words and nice comforts. Dina kadakini rata kabagini. You know, during the day, she's like a tigress taking all his money and spending it, and at night his blood is lost in the form of sex life. So this is Pumsos Triyo Maitani Bhavametam Tayor Eva Ridaya Granti Mahu Atogya Kshetra Sutapti Vitayar Janasya Moho Yam Maham Mameti. This is the problem in the material world. Conditioned soul in the human form of life is being eaten up by time, wasting his time trying to enjoy this material world where Prabhupada said there is no enjoyment in this material world. Purusho prakritisto hi guna prakriti sadguna karanam guna sangosya sadasa joni janmasu. So Maharaj Puranjana, he starts being attacked by Chandravega. Chandravega means one who moves swiftly. And what is that moving swiftly? Time. That Chandravega has soldiers. He's the king of the Gandharvas. And the Gandharva soldiers number 360. That's 360 represented days. And there are also Gandharvis, 360 Gandharvis, and they're the soldiers of Chandravega. So day and night is passing swiftly, and Puranjana Maharaj is forgetting. So everyone is forgetting that time is about to give you death. So Maharaj Yudhisthira, he was asked by Dharmaraj at the lake of death, what is the greatest wonder in this world? And Maharaj Yudhisthira says, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti ayam anyāṁs sheshastavramichanti. Sheshastavramichanti. The greatest wonder in the world is that everyone is moving towards the courtyard of Lord Yamaraj. Lord Yamaraj is described in the description of Kapila Dev to Devahuti, that the fruitive activities of every living human being is being recorded through the agents of the sun, the moon, the 10 directions, fire. These various agents bring all the sinful activities to Lord Yamaraj. Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti ayam anyāṁs. Every human being has to meet with Lord Yamaraj. So Maharaj Puranjana, he is trying to enjoy his life, failing to see that time is passing, that kāla-kanya. Kāla-kanya is the daughter of death personified. And she's always looking for a husband. Kāla-kanya. Kala means time, kanya means young girl. Or her other name is Jara, old age. So old age is taking over this human being, this Puranjana. Old age is coming and taking away. And he can't even enjoy his senses. As Kapila Dev says, as a person gets old, their relatives disrespect them. And Prabhupada mentions in the Purport that sometimes in certain tribes in Africa, the old man is taken and offered up as lunch or dinner for the tribals. They just eat him in cannibalistic societies. So as the Kalakanya attacks the city, the Puranjana, the city of Maharaj Puranjana, his friends, the five-hooded serpent, which is his life heir, becomes weaker and weaker because there's 720 soldiers attacking through the various gates of the body, through the various gates of this city. And so he becomes weaker and weaker. And gradually, the Yavanaraj, who is represented by Lord Yamaraj, and his soldiers also attack this city of 9 gates. And then we know Kapila Dev describes that in 800,000 yojanas, the living entity is dragged by the constables of death. At the time of death, he's actually trying to speak to his relatives, but because he's old now, as Dhritarashtra was getting old, it's described that his teeth were getting loose, he was losing his vision, his hearing, his voice was always full of mucus. So in this way, old age is attacking. Kala, the serpent Kala, is coming for us all. And as the living entity, the foolish human being, is dragged down the road to the Yama Sadhana, there are dogs biting at him. But it only takes a few moments for him to travel down to the place of Lord Yamaraj, Pitri Loka, which is on the bottom of this universe, just above the Garbhodakshai ocean, where he's punished in so many ways. Sometimes it says he's forced to eat his own entrails, or the dogs of hell, they come and pull his entrails out, and he's still alive and he has to observe these kinds of tortures. He's tortured in so many ways. So when we're speaking, sometimes when I'm speaking to people in the streets, trying to distribute books or distribute a holy name, sometimes we can meditate that this person, if they don't get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, give this Sankirtan mission to them. We have to see that all their sinful activities, eating of meat, other sinful activities, taking intoxication and so on, these are all being accrued. And this person that we're trying to give the holy name to and give Srila Prabhupada's mission to, we have to see how at the time of his death, Tanaham Dushata Kruran Samsareshu Naradamam Shipamiya Jashuma Shubham Asureshu Evayonishu. Krishna condemns in the 16th chapter Naradhamam, the lowest of mankind. Although they're very sophisticated, they have very advanced technology, they can fly around the world, they can send rockets into outer space, they have such high tech that they can communicate to you in a few moments from 20,000 miles away. You can, talk to someone on a Zoom link. So yes, they're very advanced materially, but Shrami vi kevalam. Dharma swanustita pumsam vishvakshena katasuyat notpariyad yadhiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. If all your activities do not invoke a desire or an effort to serve the Supreme Lord, then all those activities, whether you're a big professor, big Nobel Award winner, big scientist, yeah, I discovered theory of relativity, I discovered quantum mechanics, all these huge amounts of material knowledge that they're making advancement in is a waste of time, because Krishna says, Mudho joni sujayate, tata pralinas tamasa. At the time of death, if you die in the mode of ignorance, as Prabhupada is talking here about those who are influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance, Mudho jonisu jayate. You take birth as an animal. Like Prabhupada once told us that Jawaharlal Nehru took birth as a dog in Stockholm. He was told this by an astrologer, that his next birth, he's big Prime Minister of India, next birth, boom, just like that. Time comes just like this. It takes his life away in a flash, gone. Takes birth in the womb of a dog. In the womb of a dog. And this is described, of course, by Krishna in the 16th chapter, the demoniac nature. Chintam apariyam pralayantas chamavritaha. That unto the end of life, they simply want to enjoy their senses. Moha jala samavritaha. People are just like fish caught in the net, Krishna describes in the Gita. They're just like moha jala samavritaha. They're caught up in the illusion, in the network of illusion. The mind is telling them, go here, enjoy this. Prahlad Maharaj tells his father the same thing. Matirna Krishne paratasvato vamito bipadeta grihavratanam. Grihavratanam, you're trying to enjoy this material world. Sutta apta janasya mohoyam ahamameti. This is my property. This is my land. This is my bank balance. These are my people. I'm the leader of this society, friendship, love. There's no love in this material world. It's simply an illusion. So, Prabhupada is speaking about those who are totally covered by the modes of passion and ignorance. Lobha pravritim arambha karmana ashama spriha. In the mode of passion, they're overwhelmed by this incessant desire, overwhelming desire simply to enjoy that which is not theirs, the material world, the objects of their senses. Simply drinking poison. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very strict. And when Maharaj Prataparuja wanted to meet him, of course, externally, Maharaj Prataparuja is a king. He has many, many wives. He has a huge palace. He has elephants. He has gold treasury. That's where the king is. And they're approaching Maharaj Prataparuja, who's actually a pure devotee of the Lord, to have a darshan with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu says, Niskinchanasya paramam bhavatu Niskinchanasya bhagavat vachanon mukasya param jigamishur bhavasagarasya sandarshanam vishayinam atayoshitam cha ahanta hanta bhava pakshinatopya sadhu. That one who has taken up this path of vairagya, niskinchanasya, one who has no material desires. One who has no material desires, that means he's full of bhakti. One cannot destroy material desires or dissipate his material desires or nullify them without being purely and completely absorbed in prema bhakti. Only love of God can dissipate the darkness of the material desires. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling the devotees who were propositioning him to meet Maharaj Prataparuja that for one who has taken up this path of vairagya, this path of devotional service, yukta vairagya, even to see someone who is closely associated with those who are fond of money and women is like drinking poison, vishayinam. Simply like drinking poison. So he was very, very strict. We know that his sannyasi, who was very close to him, Chota Haridas, had just gone to beg some rice from a very old lady. Her name was Madhavi Devi, and she was very old. And because he'd gone without any association and had privately asked her for rice. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excommunicated him from his association. Therefore, there is always danger on this royal road. On the royal road, there can always be danger. There's always the chance of the highwaymen, like robbers, coming and stealing and attacking your devotional service. Desire for sense gratification, desire for wealth, kam, krodh, lobh, moha, mada, matsarya, various things. Even desire for prestige, desire for name and fame. These are all described as, as plunderers, trying to plunder the person who is aspiring to engage in devotional service to the Lord. So one always has to be diligent, especially with the mind. The mind has to be treated with great caution. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has said, you should beat the mind with sticks when you in the morning, and at night before you go to sleep, beat it with shoes. And of course, Arjuna tells Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā, Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam, that the mind is very strong, is very obstinate. Chanchala means it's always flickering, going here and there. Vaira eva saduskarnam is as strong as the wind. Krishna tells Arjuna, Asamsyam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. That yes, the mind is chalam, and it's durnigraham, very difficult to control. Abhyasana tu kunteya vairagyena chagriyate. The only way to control the mind is by constant practice and detachment. And practice means what Sanatana Goswami has given us, this pancharachaki vidhi, this practice of sadhana bhakti, by performing sadhana bhakti on a daily basis, by tatat karma pravartana, by engaging in rules and regulations of devotional service. Gradually one can become nishta, fixed in devotional service, and gradually develop a taste, ruchi, develop a taste for chanting and serving the Lord 24 hours a day. So, unfortunately, Dhritarashtra, he spent his entire life trying to enjoy the material world, trying to have emoluments and, get his sons the kingdom. And he went to all measures to get these things. He doesn't care how he gets them. Just like the living entity Kapila says, by hook or crook he tries to get money somewhere or another, by cheating activities and so on. So necessity knows no law. So similarly, Dhritarashtra was very happy to hear when it was falsely reported that the Pandavas had burnt in the house of Shalak. And he performed, their last rites. He was so overjoyed. He was so attached. In fact, in the Krishna book, Prabhupada has a chapter called Ill-Motivated Dhritarashtra. Although Dhritarashtra, Krishna may be God, but I'm overwhelmed by my desire. Even they saw Krishna in the assembly in Hastinapur, and they tried to abduct him and kidnap him and tie him with rope. He's just some ordinary person, maybe a little great personality. So this is the power of Maya. It's so powerful that one is mogasha moga karmana moga jnana vichestishaha rakshashima surim chaiva. The demoniac people are so overwhelmed by this powerful force of illusion that they engage in all kinds of abominable activities, which ultimately drags them down to the hellish planets. patanti narake sucha. Krishna says they simply glide down into the hellish worlds. So Dhritarashtra now is being saved by his brother, Vidura, who's actually an incarnation of Lord Yamaraj, right? He was cursed by Manduka Muni. And it was an opportunity it was Krishna's arrangement so that Vidura could engage in Krishna's pastimes while he was on the planet. And he's also present in the Mahabharata. So Vidura is instructing this. He's, of course, one of the 12 Mahajans, Vidura, and he's instructing his brother now that you should give up everything, stop living like a household dog in the palace of those who killed your sons. Bhima killed your sons, Duryodhana and Dushashan. Why are you still here? Why are you living like a household dog? You're shameless. Just go off to the mountains and prepare for death. Right? So Dhritarashtra finally comes to realization, comes to understand that he must now go off to the Himalayas and become fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And he practices some form of yoga in the Himalayas. And his wife follows him and ultimately attains self-realization. The highest perfectional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching bhakti-yoga all over the world. So Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has glorified Lord Chaitanya. Actually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was an empirical philosopher. He was quite impersonal, and he was the superintendent in Jagannath Puri of the temple. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful that he converted him to pure devotional service. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was inspired to compose a beautiful verse glorifying Lord Chaitanya. Vairagya Vijja Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshaksham Eka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripanidhi Yastam Maham Prapadye. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya, 535 years ago, is Krishna in the mood of Radharani has appeared here in Mayapur Dham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has descended in Kali-yuga, and he's giving a very simple process. The Sankirtan, Yagyai Sankirtane prayer. And this is the highest philanthropic activity. Very simply, chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada said, our business is chanting, dancing, and eating prasadam. These are the activities in the age of Kali by which we can go back home, back to Godhead. And following in the footsteps of the Goswamis. Tat karma pravartanat sangatyaga sato vrite, to follow in the footsteps of the great devotees of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is accompanied by so many of his eternal associates, Kripasiddhas. They have come with him from the spiritual world. Ramananda Roy is considered to be Arjuna and Vishaka. Swarup Damodar is considered to be a Lalita Gopi. Raghunath Das Goswami is Rati Manjari. So they've all come. Lord Nityananda has come with so many cowherd boys from Goloka Vrindavan. And they're coming here and they're simply dancing, chanting, and distributing pure love of God. Even those who are unfit, not qualified to receive love of God. In the age of Kali, Namo Mahavadanyaya, we know, Krishna Prema Pradayate, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very philanthropic, the most magnanimous, because he's distributing, here, take love of God. He's drowning those who are fit or unfit, doesn't matter. He's drowning them in this ocean of prema. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. Very rare, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is very merciful because we know in Kali Yuga, Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hi Upadritaha, that everyone is very unintelligent, they're spiritually lazy, they don't have good brain, they're always in anxiety. As Krishna, people are thinking, oh, America, such a wonderful place, I want to go there. When you go to the US or where I lived in Canada, so many people from India. Yes, we're here in the promised land, we're here in Vaikuntha. But then they find out that actually all these activities in the modes of passion and ignorance, Rajasas tu palam dukam. Krishna tells Arjuna, from Rajagun you get duk, you get unhappiness. Ashradana Purusha Shamshyatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Naparo Nasukam Shamshyatmanaha Na param gatim. You cannot get any happiness, you cannot achieve the goal of human life simply by pursuing material acquisitions. So people go over there from all over the world and they make a lot of money and then no one's happy, because they're not following the rules and regulations of Dharma. They're adharmis. And they're in the modes of passion and ignorance. You cannot be happy. It's impossible. It's a science. Mama Maya Durachaya. The more you try to be, passionately acquire things, loba parviti maramba, the more they're suffering. So then they come to the Hare Krishna temple. And they participate in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bharata Bhumite Manusya Janma Hoil Janma Sartaka Kara Parakara Upakara. Those who are born in Bharat Bhumi, this is a very auspicious birth because this is where Lord Ram lived. This is where Lord Nrsimhadev came and washed his hands somewhere around here, where Lord Nrsimhadev was. Lord Krishna, he was here for 120 years in Dwarka, in Mathura, in Vrindavan. Lord Ram, he walked down to Sri Lanka to, defeat Ravana. So this is a place of rishis and devas. So many holy places, so many holy rivers. So it's a special birth, but it's ordered. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you take this and spread it all over the world. This is the medicine that can cure the disease of Kali Yuga. The medicine is this chanting of the holy name of the Lord under the guidance of the great acharyas. Not that we make up our own apasampradayas, so many apasampradayas, so that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had to pray for the appearance of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to, again, drive out all these different apasampradayas, the Saki Bekas, the Baulas, the Gauranagaris, the Sahajas. People are always concocting. Prahlad Maharaj, Maharaj Yudhisthira is told by Narada Muni in the 7th canto that there are 5 kinds of religion that actually are looking like religion, but they're irreligion. Dharmam dharmam yitya, paradharma nachoditaha, upadharma tupakando, dambova shabdabishchala. The people, they make up their own concoctions about what God means. Shabdabishchala, word jugglery. They juggle words, mayavadis, like this. Paradharma, chatarma, upadharma. Upadharma people, they follow Lord Buddha, but Buddha is teaching atheism. The Vedas were spoken by ordinary persons. It doesn't come from God. There's no God. There's no soul. Nihilism. So many false philosophies. But however, the Srimad Bhagavatam is rising in the age of Kali to dissipate all this darkness in this age. So we are very fortunate that we have taken shelter of the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we should take it seriously. Pritiviti achiyata nagaradi gram. That every town and village we should go and distribute this great knowledge. These books, Srila Prabhupada said, they're not ordinary books. They're actually written by Krishna. So sometimes we saw Srila Prabhupada was reading Krishna book. Or, Srila Kirti would read Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would tell us that even if you touch these books, if someone touches these books, their lives will become perfect. And we have experience where people's lives are completely transformed simply by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, by reading Bhagavad-gītā. So slowly the darkness of Kali Yuga is being dissipated by the rising sun of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the only hope in this age of Kali. So, are there any comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks for your class. I need a little clarification on the purport. Here I just read, unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and the ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. My query is that, Prabhu, when we do the seva for fundraising, book distribution,
you have to speak slowly because I can't catch your accent. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Prabhu, when we do the seva for fundraising or book distribution, we need a lot of passion, mode of passion. So how we can understand that mode of goodness and mode of passion?
Well, there's 81 types of bhakti-yoga because there's 3 modes of material nature. 3 is 9, 9 is 81. So Kapila Dev doesn't recommend devotional service in the mode of passion and ignorance. So we should be enthusiastic, but we should always remember that Krishna is the ultimate doer, and we're simply making our attempt, cheshta. We're endeavoring to please Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas by distributing these books and distributing the holy name. So we must do it in a mood of goodness. In a mode of goodness, one feels paradukkha dukhi, like Prahlad, right? He feels compassion or pity for those who are pitiable, for those who are lost in the ocean of birth and death. That is their destiny, samsara. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Amara Jnana Guru Hana Edesh. You must become a guru. Vartamana Pradarshaka Guru. Many people you meet will become devotees. So you cultivate them. We're not here just to distribute books. We're here to bring them to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. To do that, we have to do follow-up. We have to leave them with a good impression. Now that we're distributing books, Prabhupada said it is your mistake if they leave with a bad taste. You know, maybe you were able to overpower people. When we were young brahmacharis, we could go in the streets and overpower anyone. But the art of book distribution is to leave people with a very nice taste so that they read the books. I've had people actually call me who I can't even remember when I met them. They'd say, you know, I bought a Bhagavad-gītā from you a few months ago, and my friend stole it. Could I buy another one? You know, you get things like this. I just had a lady send me at Christmas Day a gratitude message, a voice message from Canada, and she was crying how she had gotten a Srimad Bhagavatam set a couple of years ago, and she was sobbing how it's changed her life. Her husband was just a regular kind of hard-working man, and she says now he's up to the 8th canto, and he's become a devotee, and she said he's a changed man because dambo darpo abhimanascha kroda paryushyame. People are very harsh. People who are surrounded by this Kali-yuga, especially in the West, by this Western environment, they become harsh, they become angry, they're proud, arrogant, conceited, all these various demonic qualities. They become overwhelmed by it. But Prabhupada said, the demons can become devotees, devotee can become a demon. So our business is to help them rise to the mode of goodness, and then Vishuddha Sattva, the transcendental mode of goodness, where they're understanding, and every day they're doing swadhyaya, they're studying the Vedas, swadhyaya, tapa arjavam, they're living a more simple life, they're performing the austerities given by the acharyas and so on. So when we distribute, we don't want to be in a mode of passion. Passion, maybe enthusiasm, passion. Utsahan, right? Utsahan, like utsa. Yeah, I'm enthusiastic. But historically we've seen that sometimes we were overzealous, and people got books, but it caused dislike for the movement, discord towards the movement. They became agitated by our techniques. So we have to do it in a very nice way and good way. We're actually giving them our bhakti. When you follow a strong sadhana, you go out there, you're full of chanting the holy name, you're full of potency, Shakti Vinana He Tara Parvartana, Krishna Shakti, and they feel that, and they feel your enthusiasm. So you convince them in a nice way. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Any other comments? It is 2 minutes to 9, so we have time for one comment by the Pandits in the room. Pandita Samadarshinaha. So we're at the end of the marathon. Hopefully we've distributed over 2 million Bhagavad-gītās around the planet. This will definitely create a huge impact. Prabhupada told Ramaswar many years ago that we can avert wars by the spreading of this movement. We can destroy the atheistic tendencies. And he referred to 2 great enemies of the planet. One is communism, and one is Charles Darwin, evolutionary, So our business is to destroy these, Prabhupada said, these atheistic scientists and these atheistic philosophers who are simply oppressing people. They're simply oppressing people all over the world, exploiting and destroying people's lives by these atheistic ideas. So our business is to confront and attack these theories of atheism, like evolution. They can't prove it, they can't demonstrate it. They say, show me God, show me one example, of it happening in human observation. Show me empirically what is life. Yet they misguide people. They misguide people and say, andarya tandar upaniyamana, simply guiding people down into darkness. and wasting the human form of life. Very unfortunate. And then mudo janmani, they take birth for millions of lifetimes in animal species, in serpent species and aquatic species, all the various species, 8,400,000. They have to go through all these things and then come back up to the human form of life in another divya yuga. That is what's going on. So sometimes we have to meditate on this when we're preaching. How this person, if he doesn't get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that's his future. Simply gliding into billions of lifetimes of lower species of life. That's there in the Bhagavad-gītā. It's there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that the living entity, Puranjana, is taken down to the hellish planets, and then he's prepared for lower births in animal species of life. It's all described there. So our only duty, we're rescuers of the soul. We're the fishermen pulling the fish out of the ocean of birth and death. That is our business. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. The Prabhupada Marathon ki. All glories to the